Hey guys, it's Sarah Livingston with LivingLadyDesigns.com, and today we are making the Coraline Wristlet. This is from SwoonPatterns.com, and there are two options for the Coraline. There is a smaller version, which is the wristlet, which is 11 inches wide, and then there's the clutch, which is 14 inches wide. It's a little bit bigger, and the handle's a little different. So today we are going to make the the wristlet. And I like the wristlet because it's just that. It goes right around your wrist, and it's pretty easy to keep up with. I'm going to show you step number one, and this is preparing, cutting out, and getting all your stuff ready. So what I've done is I went ahead and cut out my two exterior pieces, and then I went ahead and cut out my two bottom pieces, which is your lining, and then I've also cut my two lining top pieces, which are these right here, and then I've also cut my wristlet strap. Now, there is a little bit of a difference in my my cutting right here and what you'll see in the pattern. I decided to do my wristlet strap at a 3" by 15" just because I decided to go ahead and use the 3/4 inch D-ring and then the 3/4 inch swivel. That's just what I had on hand, so I went ahead and adjusted so that my wristlet strap will be thin enough to fit inside that. So you're also going to use a 10" zipper, and I used gray because I decided to use this. The best part about this pattern is it's super versatile, so if you want to do where your zipper connects, if you want to do all the same pattern on the outside, you can do this in the same pattern, the same fabric. If you want to do contrasting, you can do your other pieces in this color. It's really, all up to you, obviously. But so I went ahead and fused on my SF101, that's my interfacing, and I went ahead and did that on all my pieces here. I don't really need to show you all that, but they're all fused on, and we are ready to go on to step number 3. Now, we are skipping step number 2 because we're not doing the clutch. We're going to do the wristlet. So step number 3 is the next step when you're doing the wristlet. You're going to go ahead, I'm going to move these out of the way so you can see what I'm doing, but the wristlet strap is what comes next. So this is just like making bias tape. I don't know if you've ever made bias tape, but it's pretty easy actually to make it by hand. You're going to flip it over, you're going to go ahead and fold it right here, and then you're going to press. Okay, so once that's folded and pressed, then you're going to go ahead and fold this in to where your crease was. And I'm just going to kind of do this just because, well, for the video's sake. And then you're going to end up like this. So then you're going to press that really well. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and top stitch. Now this is not going to look like it is when you're top stitch. It's going to look very nice and clean. You're going to top stitch right along this edge here. And then you're also going to flip it over and top stitch right along this other edge here. So you're going to have 2 lines of top stitch. When you're all finished with that, then you're going to go ahead and cut off 3 inches from the end. And that is going to make our snap, or our little section that's going to connect to the actual wristlet. So you're going to cut right there when you're all finished with that. And next we're going to go on to step number 4, which is the main panels. Okay. So here we have our wristlet strap, and I went ahead and cut the 3 inches off. So here's my 3-inch strip, and then this should be about 12 inches. I'm going to go ahead and move these guys aside, and we're going to go ahead and move on to our main exterior main pieces and our lining pieces. We're going to sew the darts. So I've already sewn the darts just so you could kind of see. These are the 2 areas right here that you're going to sew. These are our darts. This is the back right here, and I'm going to show you on this other lining piece right here. So here's one of my lining pieces. We're going to go ahead and fold it over. Make sure these lines match up. Hope you can see that on the video. I'm going to go ahead and wonder clip that. Again, I use only the wonder clips just for the video purposes. I always pin. Pinning is like the most important thing that you can do other than pressing. So I pin and press everything. So here we go. Here's our wonder clips, and you're going to stitch right across this line right here at about 1/4 of an inch, so right down here, and then also right down here. And you are going to do that for both of your lining pieces and then your exteriors. So I want to show you right here. I'm trying to get as close as I can to the video, so so you can see, but you can see that my line goes past, so it's going to make that little dart. I don't know if you can, hope you can see that. So it's really important you don't stop right at the edge, because then it's going to look all weird. So there we go. And next we're going to go ahead and attach our D-ring. And I'm going to grab my D-ring. Here's my D-ring. Now, as I've told you before, I went ahead and did a 3/4 inch D-ring. That's just what I had on hand. And my swivel clip was also a 3/4 inch. The pattern actually calls for a 1 inch, but that's what I had on hand. So I have made the modifications to the wrist strap, as I stated earlier, so that mine will actually fit. So we're going to slide our D-ring into our 3-inch piece. This is my better top stitching on this side, so I want to use this side. So here we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and measure down 2 inches from the side, which is what the instructions say. So here we go, 2 inches. I'm going to go ahead and put that on there like that. I hope you can see. It's kind of hard to zoom with this video thing. I'm going to wonder clip this. Again, I would pin it. Now, if you're going to add a tag to your bag, which is what I recommend, I do it to all my bags so that everyone knows that I made it. Here's my tag right here. And then I also have my website on the back just in case so that people can actually see. So there we go. You're going to add it to, in my case, I like to add them to my bottom corner. And it's basically preference, whatever you want to do, whichever side. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. And I'm going to wonder clip it. Again, I would normally pin it. And a tip that I always do is I always do like a little stitch about 1/4 of an inch from the side here, and then I also do 1/4 of an inch on this side just to make sure these guys stay on. When I'm also doing this piece right here, I like to double stitch, and I like to do it at 1/4 of an inch. That way you get, you know, like a double stitch is more durable. And then when you actually go ahead and stitch the rest of the bag, then you have like it just seems better. So now we're going to go ahead and attach the other piece of the exterior. So you're going to make sure that these darts line up. Hope you can see that in the video. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And I'm going to wonder clip this. Going to wonder clip right here. And you're going to make sure these line up. I'm just doing this because I'm doing it on the video. So you're going to make sure all your sides line up. Just like this. And then you're going to stitch 1/2 inch along all of these sides right here. You're going to leave this open because this is going to be where you're going to stitch later on. So you're only going to stitch right along here, just like that, at 1/2 inch. And then when you're finished stitching here, then you're going to go ahead and trim to 1/4 of an inch. I always use my pinking shears. It seems to be the best way to cut. So 1/2 inch and then 1/4 of an inch. And then once we're done with that, then I'll go ahead and show you the next step. Okay, we've went ahead and sewn around the edge right here at 1/2 inch, and then I've went ahead and trimmed at 1/4 of an inch with my pinking shears. And the pinking shears are awesome right here around this curved edge and right here, because it kind of has that little triangular, and when you flip it, then it allows you to have a really nice curved edge. So pinking shears are awesome. If you don't know what pinking shears, these are it right here, and it's got as you can see, it's got just kind of like a little zigzag pattern, and I use these a lot. On some of the thicker stuff, I ended up having to use just my regular scissors because I couldn't get through there with my pinking shears. But anyway, there's that. So now we're going to go ahead and go on to the lining. And this is my zipper. I decided to do the gray. Like I said before, I wanted the whole bag to be gray on the whole entire outside. So this is my lining top piece, one of them, and here's my zipper. Now, we're going to sew our zipper onto this piece. Now, as you can see, this is curved and this is straight. So it's awesome because you can pin, and as you pin, you're going to just kind of stretch your zipper a little bit, or not really stretch it, but to the actual curve, and you'll see it'll come out perfect, and it looks like it actually is a curved zipper. So when I go ahead and attach my zippers, I always undo them just because it seems like it's easier to work with. It doesn't bunch up as much. I'm going to use wonder clips again today. I would normally pin. The slower you go, the better on this, because you want to make sure that you are getting right along that edge. So here we go. I'm just going to do this really quick so you guys can see. And it will conform right to your curve. You'll see it's great. So once I've went ahead and wonder clipped all the way down to my bottom edge. And sometimes when you get to the bottom, if there's a little bit of a overhang here, or there's not enough of your zipper, then just go back and readjust it. Like, I'll just move this down just a little bit. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and show you here. So you're going to go ahead and stitch right along that zipper edge, right here where the zipper is, at 1/4 of an inch. You can use a zipper foot, you can use a regular foot. You just want to be careful and make sure you're at 1/4 of an inch, because if you do any more than that, then you're going to end up in your zipper. You also want to be careful that your machine does not hit this little spot here and this here. When you're sewing, if you're going to sew with a regular foot, I'll tell you, I go ahead and I unzip a little bit down here, go ahead and stitch to about here, pull out your needle or pull it up, and then go ahead and zip it back so that I can avoid that. Sometimes if I'm doing a lot of bags, it's just easier than to switch my foot and do all this stuff just for one little zipper. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I've went ahead and sewn the zipper onto my lining top piece, as you can see right here, and you see my zipper. And I would go ahead at this point and press right here. I like to press in between steps. I like to press, I like to pin. It's super important that you do those things. A lot of people try to wing it, and to me, it just makes the bag look better. So here's the other side of your zipper. So you're going to go ahead and we're going to add the lining piece to this part. So here's our lining piece. You're going to make sure this is face down, and you're looking at it going, that is not going to fit. But the first couple times I did this, I was like, what in the world? I can't get this to work. But you're going to go ahead, and it's the same thing as before. I'm going to do this way just real quick so I can get it started. You're going to line up right along that zipper, and you're going to pin it. I'm going to use the Wonder Clips just like I did before, and I'm going to actually turn it like this so you can see. You want to make sure that the right sides are together, because when you sew it, this is going to be your lining, and this is going to be your edge that's going to get sewn to your bag. So I'm going to go ahead and pin it on this side right here. I'm going to Wonder Clip it, again, for the sake of the video. Make sure your pieces are very well lined up. If you go slow, it's easier, and you can get the fabric to kind of work with you, and then it will end up looking straight. Now, there's a lot of ladies who have mentioned that they cannot get these zippers right, and I would say this is probably one of the most important steps that you do, is just to make sure that you're going slow and you're pinning. I've been sewing for a long time. I learned how to sew in home ec in like 7th grade, and it was a basic pillow, and we learned how to thread a machine, and that was about it. So a lot of the stuff that I've learned has kind of been self-taught, you know, trial and error. So one thing that I learned right off the bat is pinning and pressing are super duper important, and a lot of people try to skip those steps, and I really think that's what makes your bag. So this is all pinned right here. You're going to, again, make sure this is very straight, and then you're going to go ahead, I'm going to hold this up a little bit, you're going to stitch right on top of that line right there, the line you've already stitched on. So you're going to do the exact same thing. It's 1/4 of an inch. You're going to go ahead and stitch right along that line. And then I would go ahead and press, and I'm going to show you what all of that looks like. Okay, so I came back for just a second. I just wanted to show you, this is how many pins I use. I love pinning because I really think that this is a super important step. I don't have a problem with wonky zippers, curvy zippers or anything like that, and I really think it's because I pin so much. A lot of you are thinking, man, that's overkill. But to me, if you want a straight zipper, you have to do the prep work to do it. So I just want to show you this really quick. This is my pinning, and I'm going to go ahead and sew it, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, so I went ahead and sewn all of the pieces together. So this is your lining top, and this is your lining bottom. This is your zipper. Excuse me. And I've also went ahead and pressed right here, and also pressed right here. That way, as you can see, my zipper is going to lay really flat. So what you're going to do, the next part is to go ahead and sew on the other side. So I'm going to pin that just like you did on the first side. I'm going to pin that there. Then you're going to stitch there. You're going to flip it. You're going to pin this side exactly like you did in the last step. So here's a little tip. I wanted to show you. I have this little iron here. It's a Dritz. And this is so small, as you can see. I have small hands anyway, but this is tiny. This is awesome for getting right here on these zippers or for your bags. And I don't know. I just thought I would show you because it's really a really great tool to have around. I have a friend who does a lot of appliques, and she actually suggested it, and so I went ahead and got one. So just a little side note, and I'm going to go ahead and sew these next pieces to this, just like this, and like that, and then I'll show you how the whole thing goes next. Okay, at this point, we have sewn all of our pieces together for the lining. You've sewn both of your top lining pieces to your zipper, and then you've also sewn your bottom lining pieces to your zipper. So this is what it should look like on the top, right here, and this is what it should look like on the bottom. Just so. And you wanted that finished edge so you can't see the edge on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and unzip so you can kind of see this is how it's going to be. So this is your lining. And next we're going to pin the pieces together so that we can finish up our lining. So the very first thing you're going to do is line up just like we did on the exterior. You're going to go ahead and do the darts. Make sure they line up. And a little trick that I like to use is I like to use red and green for stop and go on my bags. And I'm going to pin right down here the red because we are going to stop at each of these points right here. That's just a little indicator to me that says stop. Don't go there. So I'm going to pin, and this is where I'm starting up here. Now your zipper part right here, this is very important that we do this correctly. Now she says, Alicia does in her pattern for this bag, that you make sure your zipper pieces are down at the bottom of the bag. So as you can see, my two pieces right there are down at the bottom. So I always like to secure right there with a pin with my pieces so that they don't go anywhere. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Now you want to make sure that your zipper is open on this point, because if it's not open, it's going to be really hard to turn the bag through the hole. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure these are down. Put my little pin here. Now I'm pinning just exactly as I would for the bag. So I, again, use a lot of pins just because I want to make sure that my bag is secure and set so that when I sew it, all I have to do is basically stitch along that line. So let me just pin. Now I'd pin a lot more carefully, but I'm just doing this for the sake of the video quickly. So once you've gone ahead and pinned around the two, basically the two sides right here, and you're going to make sure that they line up exactly before you actually sew anything. You're going to go ahead and sew a 1/2 inch around the edge. You're going to sew starting from here all the way down, stopping at the red. It's very important. You need to have that hole when you flip the bag. So then you're going to go here. You're going to start here. You're going to go all the way, and you're going to stop right here. So you're going to have these two sides sewn at a half of an inch seam allowance. This side is open, and this side is open. And once you've done that, you're going to trim a 1/4 of an inch just right here and just right there. And then I'll show you what it looks like when we come back. Alrighty, we've gone ahead and stitched our 1/2 inch around on these sides, and I went ahead and also trimmed down to a 1/4 of an inch right here. Remember, we have the opening here and our zipper's open. The next part is we are going to assemble the entire bag. So I went ahead and flipped my bag. Sorry, there's a string right here. Right side out. This is the exterior portion. I went ahead and done that, and I go ahead and press it on the sides. Press the whole thing so it's good. You're going to put the exterior piece inside your lining piece. So for me, what I like to do is I like to put the D-ring side in up against this zipper side right here. That's just kind of how I know that the zipper is going the right direction. So I'm going to slide this in here. We've got that. And then you're going to go ahead, match up right here your seams. Just like that. I'm going to pin this. So it stays put. And now what we're going to do is you're going to go ahead and just pin all the way around the rest of the bag. And you're going to sew on the inside of the bag, so I always go ahead and put my pins that direction so it's easy to pull out. So here we go, and I'm just going to quickly wonder clip it so you can see how your pinning goes. Here's your piece right there. I'm going to grab my pin it there, just so it stays put. And then when you're all finished with this, you are going to go ahead and put your machine, put it on your machine. Let's see. And I just did this really quickly, so there you go. This should all be completely straight and lined up. Mine is not because I did it fast, but you're going to go ahead and put it in your machine like this. It's easier to stitch this way, I found on my machine. So I go ahead and stitch this way, and I just do a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around the top of the bag. So you're basically going to sew around this whole edge right here, your whole 1/2 inch. Now, you obviously had your zipper open, so you can't sew it unless your zipper's open this way. You're going to go ahead and sew along the top there. Then you're going to trim at 1/4 of an inch. It's super important right up here to trim to 1/4 of an inch, because if you don't, then you're going to have so much bulk up in here and in between your seams, and it's going to be a pain to sew, to get your machine to go through that. So go ahead and stitch the top, and then once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and trim down to 1/4 of an inch, just like I said. Flip everything inside out, and then I'm going to show you what to do at that point. So we went ahead and stitched around the top. You can see my line right here. And I went ahead and trimmed all around, so we have, the bag is now inside out. What you're going to do is you're going to pull the bag through your opening, just like this. Make sure you see, once I went ahead and stitched or pressed the bag, then it's easier when you just pull it back out. So now we have this right here, the lining and these pieces. So then what you're going to do is you're going to fold these under just slightly to match that bottom edge right here. And then what you're going to do, you're going to press this and you're going to pin it. You might not need to pin it if you actually press it, but with my Wonder Clips, you want to make sure it's the same edge. And I like, or it's right along this edge right here. What I like to do is I like to start right here at this seam, even though I've went ahead and stitched over a little bit, just because then that way you don't have to worry about it coming undone. So I go ahead and start here, and then I do like a teeny tiny seam, about probably 1/8 of an inch, just barely to catch that edge. Now this is your lining. So I've used a lot of gray in this bag, in this particular bag. I would probably switch to this color just so you can't see it as well. This is going to be the lining, so you're not going to see it, but I like to just have a lot of finished edges so it doesn't look sloppy. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch right along that edge there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to push the whole bag inside itself. And I'm just going to do this just for the video's sake so you can see. So basically, your whole bag, after it's all sewn, you're not going to do this yet, okay? After you've sewn the lining, the hole in the lining, you're going to go ahead and press this top edge. You want to press this really, really well, right along that seam right there. Do that same as. And then you're going to do about 1/8 of an inch, I think. It's kind of preference what you want to do on the top stitch. The top stitching, to me, is super duper important because it kind of holds that edge down. Some ladies decide that they don't want to top stitch. I like to top stitch mine. So what I do is I start on the back side of the bag, kind of on in this corner, so it's kind of a straight and it's easy. So I start here and top stitch, and then I go all the way around, and then I end it right here. It might be a little tricky on the edges right here, so to do these, probably more along this line right here. So sometimes I have to go ahead and hand stitch, or just hand use my machine and just turn the wheel manually just to get that through that edge right there so it looks nice and finished. So I'll do all of that, and then I'll show you what the bag will look like when it's all done. So here's the finished edge right here. You can see I went ahead and sewed right here so it finishes up the inside of your lining. And I went ahead and top stitched so that I can show you the finished bag. So go ahead and slide that in, and here's my top stitched on the bag right here along the edge, and this is the back for me. This obviously needs a good pressing, but, and there you go. There's your Coraline. Now, this is a wristlet strap, and what you're going to do is you're going to take your swivel clip. I just went ahead and sewed this so you could see. But you're going to put your wristlet, your hardware, your swivel clip on the inside of this right here. Sew it along the bottom, and then you're going to flip it like this. This is fairly simple, but I thought I would just show you everything on this bag. And then you're going to slide this in between right here. Fold it back, and then you're going to do another stitch right here, right along that edge. And actually on this bag, I did a double stitch on the whole interior of the bag. I like to do double stitch. I feel like it's more durable that way. But there you go. I'm just going to clip that on. And there we go. That's what we look like. This is the regular clutch size. Sorry, this is the regular wristlet size of the Coraline. So I'm going to show you, my daughter wanted a shrunken version just to fit her phone. So this is a smaller version of the Coraline. I went ahead and just, I modified the actual pattern piece and just kind of, I didn't shrink it because I was worried about the zipper, but this is the shrunk version. And as you'll see, I have an iPhone 5 as well. So this, basically, it fits. There's plenty of room, so it fits. This is actually my best seller, the smaller version. I think because a lot of teenagers, college girls, they just like the smaller version. So I left everything else the same, except I basically made it a little bit smaller, as you can see. I just shrunk it in. I think it was 1.5 inches on each side here, and I think it was 1 inch on the bottom. So anyway, there you go. There's my Coraline, and this is what I call my mini Coraline. And there you go. If you have any questions, you can check me out on livingladydesigns.com. And also, if you like my videos, then go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting a lot of these videos and these tutorials. I'm really enjoying doing them, so I'm going to go ahead and keep on doing some. So thank you very much.